How's it going, guys? Big Perk Outdoors here with Camp Honor. We can go over a little bit about what Camp Honor is about, what they are trying to do, and go from there. I'll have him explain this. He obviously is big into this now, just started in 2024, and he's really trying to grow this and help people that are in military, law enforcement, really get involved in the outdoors. But I will have him explain that. Nice seeing you.
Yeah.
Say a little bit about what Camp Honor's doing, what you're trying to achieve, and go from there.
Yeah, so kind of like yourself, Warren, Matt Simmons with Camp Honor. I was, in the military for 4 years in Navy Seabees. I got out with the desire to continue to serve my father, my grandfather. They were also military, but also my father served in the government for a really long time as a community servant. So that was kind of in my blood per se. So I've been a firefighter now for 25 years. And we were talking about it before we started recording here about what we ask our people to do, right? I mean, how long you been in law enforcement?
12 years.
12 years, and that's been long enough to experience probably the full array of things that calls that you see of people in despair, of people who need you, and people who don't appreciate you, and then some that do. So along with that, when we ask people to serve, not just in the military, but in our communities in whole, there's a sacrifice for that. I mean, we don't have time right now to go over what that sacrifice looks like for me as yourself, but I would guarantee that there's probably not a spot in your patrol district that you haven't seen something bad.
Absolutely.
And so same for me, and same for all the people that we ask to serve their communities. So anyway, along with that, in the last few years, and rightfully so, PTSD and mental health has become on the forefront of leaders and organizations, as well as out there of like legislation and what people are trying to do to help. And along with that is good and bad, in my opinion. There's a lot of good people that are trying to help, but then there's also those people. And again, in my opinion, I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but there are some organizations out there as well as people who might be trying to make a buck on that, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I was out in the woods deer hunting, and had some people that were close to me that were really basically they came to the end of the road on right before a breakdown per se, and they found some different things that were helping them. And Camp Honor is about 3 tenets: faith, family, and outdoors. And I know that you are also really heavy into family, also into the outdoors. And so for me, I started asking, what does that look like? Why am I different? Like, why don't I feel that what I'm hearing? And again, I'm a chief of an organization, so I have 40 some personnel that I lead and I care about, that I ask them to do a lot for the community in which we serve. And so I started to dive into that space of like, okay, how do you even navigate it? Like, it's like one of those things, it's like you can't really see, and how do you prove somebody has it? And so for me, it really came back to looking at my own life and what has helped me. And I'll tell you, Warren, if it wasn't for the outdoors, I wouldn't be here talking to you about the outdoors. Or I don't think I could have served in the capacity that I have if I didn't have the outdoors. And for me, I was always blessed, and I think you shared that when we talked a little bit before the show of a father, a grandfather that were also knew the importance of the outdoors. And so for me, that helped. And now that I'm learning about the space, resiliency is a big key term, and it's a key component of you're going to have the traumas. I mean, you're going to run across law enforcement individuals that come to your organization that might have 2 years experience, 1 year experience, or none. Like, I mean, it's a space in which we operate that some people lateral into what we do and they have a little experience, and then there's others that are as green as the grass. And so I think it's key for what we do to let people know that, number one, you're going to see it. It's coming. Like, You don't really know the day or the time, but as law enforcement and as what I do in fire and EMS, we prepare for those. I think on the flip side, we've done a bad job in our space of law enforcement, first responders, of preparing people to see it. We've done a pretty good job with after the fact, like of recognizing when a trauma happens and helping those people, whether that's a post-traumatic debrief or offering, one of the good ones is we got those little cards at the fire department. You probably do the I forget the term they use, but it's like, oh, we have these people you can call, and it's like, has anybody ever talked to a real person? They call that number, and I don't know, people are like, I haven't. But we now have people that we use,
Right.
and I bet you guys do too. But I think we could do better at the front end of that, of like, do you get in the outdoors? I think you're very well into the outdoors and told me what that does for you, and now you're passing that to your own son. I think that was the blessing that I had. And recognizing that, I have a piece of property in Southern Ohio, and about 33 acres that backs up to Wayne National, and I've had it for about 8 years, and it's really helped me, Warren. I mean, like, even when I don't kill a deer in a season, it's like getting into the tree stand. It's healing for me, and to be able to unwind. So to be able to be blessed to start Camp Honor, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to give that opportunity to. We talked a little bit also that, like, especially here in Miami County and like the northern end of Southwest Ohio, there's not a lot of opportunities for people to hunt. We talked about how we used to go door knocking, and I did as well, like knocking on farms and like, hey, can I hunt here? And if you let me hunt here, I'll do this. People that I encounter, they don't even have that know about. They don't even know, like, Nick, one of my board members, who's also a cousin that works with you, we're getting ready to do something within our church called Man Camp, where we're going to teach people how to change oil. Like, there's some of the basic things out there that people either they don't know how to do or they're too lazy. And those are the types of things, especially hunting for me and being in the outdoors. If you want to be a resilient man, you can't say that, in my opinion, if you don't get outdoors in some format. And I'm not saying you have to hunt. I think it's key. Hunting and fishing, it doesn't take a lot, but it teaches you a lot. And so Camp Honor, we're really trying to, we started 2024. We've had 3 hunts. All of them have been successful. We took a Miami County deputy out on our first hunt, whose father was a Vietnam veteran, and he was also a 10-year Navy veteran, and then a multi-year law enforcement. Never really had the opportunity to hunt. Got himself the first whitetail, and it was an amazing experience at him. But part of that experience was getting them out to, the successful part is awesome, but one of the most important aspects for us at Camp Honor was sitting around a campfire the day before and the night before or the night after, and talking about, hey, what are you doing intentionally for your relationship with God? What are you doing with your wife and kids? Like, are you as law enforcement, you guys probably do a lot of training.
Oh, absolutely.
Training for situations of, whether it's an active shooter or whether it's a bomb threat or, all these situations that, basically if somebody's in trouble, they're calling 911. And I don't think people even realize the amount of training and aspects of a law enforcement of you guys are the first ones there. And
Yep.
You got to have some sort of a plan. Again, you can't plan for everything, but you got to have at least a foundational, like, okay, if this happens, this is what we're going to do. And it's funny to me that a lot of men don't have that in their marriage. They don't have that in their walk with God. Of it just like, well, I'm married now. Well, that'd be like a new cop getting on. They're like, I'm certified. Give me my keys, my car, and then never train for any other situations. It's not going to end well.
Yep.
And so for me, getting people into the outdoors, letting them know that that's a resiliency tool, that it's like, we talked about that as well, some of the harshness of nature, like gun season this year. It was 17 where I was at, 17 degrees. And about an hour and a half in, my toes felt like they're going to fall off. Well, that builds yourself as a man. It builds a little, in my mind, character.
Makes you feel alive,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
And so I remember just waiting and just couldn't wait for the sun to rise so I could put my face in it because I was so cold. But also training them, that's like, that training for me is like, what are you doing in your marriage? And what we do as first responders, our divorce rate's higher. People tend to go to other vices, like whether that's gambling, addiction, some sort of a thing, because we're not somewhat designed to do what you do and then not have an outlet that's healthy. And in my opinion,
Yeah, there's
I-
nothing normal, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, there's no 9 to 5. It's definitely a different job when it comes to, a lot of people expect to get off at a certain time, and it just doesn't happen.
Yeah. And I know where you guys work, there's also a shortage of trying to get people. And then that causes, like, you still have to have people on the road.
Hmm.
And now you're eating into like forced overtime and call ins. And so, yeah, so Camp Honor for me is just that outdoor component of being able to give people the tools that they don't really like, they don't know about. And then all of a sudden we get them out there and they get